The conference room smelled like expensive leather and my brother's cologne, the kind that costs $200 a bottle because the brand name matters more than how it actually smells. I was sitting at the head of the table, trying not to let my hands shake while the lawyers shuffled papers around. Michael was 3 seats down, scrolling through his phone like this was just another Tuesday meeting. He had no idea. I should probably back up. Growing up, I was the family disappointment. Not in the dramatic, rebellious way, more like the background character who just existed while everyone watched my brother's highlight reel. Michael was 3 years older, captain of the lacrosse team, 4.0 GPA without trying, got into Yale early decision. The kind of kid who'd walk into a room and adults would literally stop their conversations to tell my parents how impressive he was. Me? I was fine. B average, played JV soccer for 1 season before I quit, got into a decent state school. Not bad, just not Michael. My dad made sure I knew the difference. Every single report card, every college rejection letter, every family dinner where relatives asked about our plans. He'd do this thing where he'd talk about Michael's accomplishments, then turn to me with this tight smile. Well, we can't all be natural talents, can we? Some of us have to work harder. The summer after my sophomore year of college, I came home with this idea. I'd been teaching myself coding in my dorm room. Started because I wanted to build a better class schedule app, then got weirdly obsessed with it. Spent whole weekends just in the zone, you know? That flow state where you look up and 6 hours have passed. I told my dad I was thinking about switching my major to computer science. Maybe starting a small web development business on the side. We were in the kitchen. I remember because I was leaning against the counter by the coffee maker, and he was doing the crossword puzzle at the table. Didn't even look up. Michael's doing his Goldman Sachs internship, he said, pen still moving across the page. Making real money. Real career. Yeah, but I'm actually interested in, you'll never be successful like your brother. He said it so casually, like he was commenting on the weather. Still didn't look at me. You don't have his drive. Better to be realistic about your limitations. I felt my face get hot. You know that feeling when you're humiliated but also trying not to cry? So your throat gets tight and you can't quite breathe, right? I just think you think too much. That's your problem. Michael just does. He folded the newspaper, finally looked at me. Maybe focus on finishing school first before you start planning businesses you'll never actually start. I went back to my room and stared at my laptop for like an hour. Almost deleted all my code files. Almost switched back to my original major. Business administration. Generic enough to not threaten anyone. Instead, I spent the rest of that summer learning everything I could. Took online courses, built practice projects, joined developer forums where people actually answered questions without making you feel stupid. By August, I had a portfolio website and 3 small clients. Local businesses that needed basic sites but couldn't afford the big agencies. I didn't tell my family about any of it. Senior year, I was pulling in maybe $3,000 a month doing freelance work while finishing my degree. Not huge money, but enough that I felt capable, I guess. Like maybe I wasn't completely useless. I graduated, moved to Austin with 2 friends from college, and we turned the freelance thing into an actual agency. Michael, meanwhile, got hired at this mid-sized tech consulting firm called Stratton Solutions. My dad talked about it for literally 6 months. Director track, he'd say on our monthly phone calls. Michael's already being groomed for leadership. Making 6 figures at 26. Cool. I was making 4 figures some months, 7 on good ones. Hiring my first employee. Learning how to actually run a business instead of just code. Here's what I learned that my brother never had to. When nobody believes in you, you get really fucking resourceful. You learn to validate your own wins because no one else will. You develop this almost paranoid attention to detail because you know one mistake will confirm everything they thought about you. By 28, my agency had 12 employees. We specialized in custom software solutions for mid-market companies. Exactly the kind of unglamorous, practical work that makes actual money but doesn't sound impressive at parties. Revenue hit $2 million that year. I still barely talked to my family. Birthday calls. Thanksgiving if I couldn't avoid it. My dad would ask how the computer thing was going. And I'd say fine, because explaining retention rates and enterprise contracts would just get that glazed look. Michael got promoted to senior director. My dad updated his email signature to include proud father of Stratton Solutions Senior Director Michael Torres. I'm not making that up. I saw it when he forwarded me something about Thanksgiving logistics. When I was 31, something clicked. We'd grown to 25 employees, consistent $5 million annual revenue, and I was starting to feel like, okay, I'd prove something. To myself, anyway. Started therapy around then. My girlfriend Emily basically insisted after I had a full meltdown over a client meeting that reminded me of arguing with my dad. Therapist asked me once, what would be enough? What would make you feel successful? I didn't have an answer for weeks. Then one of my developers, Sarah, she's brilliant. One of those people who sees patterns in code like other people read street signs. She came into my office with this energy. Bouncing on her toes. I know we're focused on organic growth, she started, which is how I knew she was about to pitch something expensive. But Stratton Solutions is for sale. I felt something weird in my chest. What? The tech consulting place? Their PE firm is looking to exit. They're shopping it around quietly. I heard from my friend who works in M&A. How much are they asking? Probably 8 to 12 million range based on their size. We could do a structured deal if... Why would we want a consulting firm? That's not our model. She gave me this look. Their client list would triple our enterprise access. They have government contracts, and... She paused. Didn't you say your brother works there? Senior director? Right. She tilted her head. You okay? You look weird. The thing is, I wasn't thinking about revenge. Not exactly. I was thinking about that feeling in the kitchen when I was 20, trying to explain my dreams to someone who couldn't even bother to look up from his crossword puzzle. I spent the next 3 months putting together the acquisition. Had to bring in outside investors, which I'd never wanted to do. Structured it so I kept majority control but had the capital to actually pull it off. The due diligence was insane. Financial audits, legal reviews, client contract assessments. Stratton was profitable but stagnating. Good legacy clients, but they'd basically been coasting on the same services for 5 years. No innovation. Classic case of competent but uninspired management. Michael's name came up in the leadership evaluation. Solid performer, risk-averse, good at maintaining client relationships but hasn't originated new business in 18 months. We closed the deal in November. $9.2 million, mostly financed but with enough equity that it was genuinely terrifying. I didn't sleep right for weeks. Emily would wake up at 3 a.m. and find me at the kitchen table with spreadsheets, running scenarios over and over. The announcement went out to Stratton employees on a Wednesday. New ownership, integration planning to begin immediately, all hands meetings scheduled for Friday morning. My dad called that night. First time he'd called me, not texted, actually called in maybe 2 years. Did you know about this? I was in my car, sitting in the parking garage after a late meeting. Know about what? Michael's company was sold to some tech startup in Austin. Oh, yeah, that's my company, Dad. Silence. Like a full 10 seconds of nothing. What are you talking about? The acquisition. We bought Stratton Solutions. I own it now. You... What? How? I could hear my mom in the background asking what was wrong. My dad's voice went muffled for a second, then came back sharp. How do you have that kind of money? Did you take out loans you can't afford? Jesus, do you know what you're doing? And there it was. Not congratulations or how did you build a company that could do this? Just immediate assumption that I'd fucked up somehow. We did a full due diligence, Dad. It's a sound investment. We're merging the service lines. Does Michael know? He'll find out Friday at the all-hands meeting. Same as everyone else. You couldn't give him a heads up? He's your brother, I started laughing. Couldn't help it. When's the last time Michael gave me a heads up about anything? When's the last time you called to ask how my business was actually doing? Don't get dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being honest. You've spent my entire adult life telling me I'd never be successful like Michael. Now I'm literally his boss. So I'm just... Processing that, I hung up. Hands were actually shaking this time. Called Emily, who'd been waiting in our apartment. How'd he take it? About how you'd expect. You okay? I thought about it. Watched some guy 3 cars over struggle with his trunk for a minute. Yeah, I said. I think I actually am. The all-hands meeting that Friday was surreal. I'd been in plenty of high-stakes presentations, investor pitches, client proposals, but standing in front of 60 people who had no idea who I was, about to explain that their company now belonged to me? Michael was in the 3rd row. I spotted him immediately. He had this expression like he was trying to figure out if he knew me from somewhere. I went through the standard acquisition speech. Our vision for integration, commitment to retaining talent, excitement about combined capabilities, professional, Boring, necessary, afterward. During the mingle with your new overlord's coffee thing, Michael made his way over. He'd figured it out by then. I could see it in the way he was walking, this careful composure. So, this is unexpected. Yeah. Dad called me 3 times last night. He called me once. I wasn't as patient as you, apparently. Michael did this thing where he smiled, but his jaw was tight. Look, I know we haven't been close. You want to know if your job is safe? I mean, yeah, that's part of it. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He'd gained some weight since I'd seen him at Christmas 2 years ago. Had some gray at his temples. Looked tired in that way people look when they've been coasting on reputation for too long. Your job is safe if you're actually good at it, I said. I don't care that you're my brother. I care if you deliver value. I've been senior director for 3 years. Yeah, I read your file. You maintain clients well. You're reliable. But when's the last time you built something new? His face went red. That's not really how consulting works at this level. It is now. We're pivoting the whole division toward integrated solutions. Custom development plus strategic consulting. You want to stay senior director, you need to learn how to sell the new model. And if I can't? I shrugged. Then you find something that fits your skills better. No hard feelings. But I'm not running a retirement home for comfortable executives. He just stared at me. I could see him trying to process this. His screw-up little brother, who couldn't even make the varsity soccer team, telling him his job performance was inadequate. Does this make you feel good? He finally asked. Like, did you do this whole thing just to? No, I cut him off. I did this because it's a smart acquisition that grows my company's capabilities and market position. The fact that you work here is honestly a complication I didn't need. That landed. I could see it. I'm going to talk to the product integration team, I said. You should think about whether you want to be part of building something or if you'd rather take a severance package and find something else. Either way, I need to know by Monday. I walked away before he could respond. Professional, clean. Emily asked me later if I felt satisfied. I don't know. I told her honestly. I thought I'd feel more something. Triumphant? Vindicated? Maybe. Instead, I just feel tired. And kind of sad. Sad? I thought about my dad's crossword puzzle. Michael's careful composure. All those years of trying to prove something to people who'd already decided I was less than. Yeah. Sad that it took this for them to even see me. And sad that even now I don't think they actually do. Michael stayed. Took the challenge, actually rose to it in ways I didn't expect. Turned out when he wasn't being groomed for leadership based on pure charisma, when he actually had to produce results, he was decent. Not exceptional, but solid. We're not close. Probably never will be. But we have a functional working relationship, which is more than we had before. My dad. That took longer. He sent an email about 6 months after the acquisition. Subject line, thoughts. The email was 3 paragraphs about how he'd always known I had potential and was proud to see me applying myself seriously. No acknowledgement of the kitchen conversation or the 1,000 small dismissals before and after it. I deleted it. He tried calling a few times. I didn't answer. Finally, he showed up at my office, flew to Austin without asking, just appeared in my lobby looking uncomfortable in his too formal suit. You can't ignore me forever, he said when I finally agreed to talk to him in a conference room. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just done needing your approval. I'm your father. Yeah, you are. And you spent decades making sure I knew I wasn't good enough. So now that I've built something you can't dismiss, you want to what? Rewrite history? He looked older than I remembered. Smaller somehow. I was hard on you because I didn't want you to struggle. No, I shook my head. You were hard on me because you decided I was less than Michael, and every time I tried to show you otherwise, you couldn't handle being wrong. It was never about helping me. It was about you being comfortable with your assessment. That's not fair. You told me I'd never be successful like my brother. You said it to my face when I was trying to share something I cared about. So forgive me if I'm not interested in your revisionist parenting. We sat in silence for a while. Outside the conference room window, I could see my team working. People I'd hired, trained, believed in. I don't know how to fix this, my dad finally said. He actually looked like he might cry, which I'd never seen. I don't know either, I admitted. But I'm not interested in pretending it's fixed just because it's uncomfortable. He left. We still don't talk much. Maybe someday we will, maybe we won't. I've stopped waiting for him to become someone different. Here's what I learned. Success isn't about proving people wrong. That's the trap. You spend so long trying to earn validation from people who've already decided you're not worth it, and even when you win, it doesn't feel like you thought it would. Real success is building something that matters to you, surrounded by people who see your value without needing proof. It's knowing your worth isn't determined by someone else's inability to recognize it. Did I buy my brother's company to prove a point? Maybe partially. But mostly I bought it because it made business sense, and because I'd built something strong enough to take that risk. The fact that it also forced my family to see me differently? That's just a side effect. These days, I measure success differently. Not by my dad's approval or my brother's career trajectory, by whether I'm building something I'm proud of, by whether I'm treating my team better than I was treated, by whether I'm creating the kind of environment where someone's weird dorm room coding obsession gets encouraged instead of dismissed. We're at 80 employees now. Revenue crossed $15 million last year. Michael runs our enterprise consulting division and is actually pretty good at it. My dad has a standing invitation to visit whenever. He's ready to have real conversations instead of revisionist ones. I don't know if he ever will, but I'm okay either way, because I finally learned what I was really chasing. Wasn't his approval, it was my own, and that I've had for a while now. Turns out the kid who wasn't naturally talented just needed someone to believe in him. Eventually, I figured out how to be that person for myself. Best investment I ever made.